What's going on, Cowboys Nation? Welcome back to another episode of StarChasers, Offseason Convos. As you know, it's your girl, Cravin Cowboys. And as usual, I got my girl, Star, in the building. What's going on, Star? How you doing tonight, sis?
What's up, Mickey? What's up, everybody? In the chat, glad to see everybody tonight. I know we took another hiatus, but I was sick as a dog last week, so I couldn't do no shows. And the week before that, I had stuff I had to prepare for my day job. But we're glad to be back, especially this is the week right before the draft. So
yes, we're ready. We so ready. We so ready. I was so ready. I thought the draft was this week for whatever reason.
we ready for actual football conversations. I'm tired of all the rumors. I'm tired of all the mock drafts, and all of this stuff. It's like I'm over it.
Right. I'm tired of the silence too, Star. I don't know how you feel, but I'm kind of tired of the silence too. I mean, I know we still, of course, always see Cowboys in the headlines. Just Dak this, Cowboys that, Jerry that. You know, we always see all the time. But like you said, I'm just like my name Craving Cowboys. I'm just craving some Cowboys news, not no drama off the field. BS. I'm just like you said, I'm actually just craving some the football content at this point. Of course, middle of the year, middle of the offseason in April. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we just craving that football talk.
Exactly. We ready to talk about football. I thought we would be getting a little bit more now that OTAs have started, but all we got was a couple of articles and pictures. So I was like, damn, I guess after the draft that they start like interviewing the players and talking about how offseason went. Then we can talk to the coaches and everything. We can start talking about what we're going to look like as a football team, because that has just not been discussed. It's been all about, is Dak getting signed? Is Dak not getting extended?
Right.
To the Raiders.
CD holding out, oh my God.
Is he going to get signed? There's people in-house, stick a Micah. It's just like, I'm so tired of all this.
And it's crazy. I'm surprised when Michael don't show up, but when those quote-unquote rumors start from inside the building, you want your star player to show up?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm just over it.
Right.
Once the draft happens, it will no longer be, once the draft happens and finger crossed, Dak Prescott's not surprisingly traded, they can shut up with all of that stuff. They can shut up with should get Shadur Sanders and all this stuff. It's like,
is there gonna be a quarterback at 24?
Exactly. Let's get Michael Penix. It's just like, listen, I'm over it. I'm over the drama. Please, I'm over the drama.
Yes, I'm with you there, Star. Hey, before we get too deep into it, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that share button. If you listen on Twitter, give us a retweet, give us a like, give us a share. We're just trying to grow our voices. As beginning content careers, we just really just trying to share our voices and really just like we were talking about earlier, just talk football with you guys, talk football with each other, and just really just keep us busy in this in this stale part of the season. Unfortunately, we all got to go through players, fans, coaches, organizations alike. So we just want to get our voices out there, and just thank everybody for joining us on this hump day evening, and hopefully we give you guys a good show.
Absolutely, let's get it.
Yeah, but like Star was saying, the week before the draft, it's all speculation, then crazy mock drafts, since pretty much since our game ended, since the Super Bowl ended, that's really what they like to do in this like I was talking about, the stale part of the season. So just before we jump just too deep into it, we've seen some mock drafts out there like we're talking about. Of course, with the Cowboys, we're certain ones out there. They have a tackle or a offensive lineman going to the Cowboys. I haven't really seen anything too crazy outside of that. I know we heard Mike McCarthy's sit down with the media where he kind of speculated there could be defensive players going in the first couple rounds. But of course, we never know, especially with just how many needs we actually need as a team. As an organization going into this offseason. Going into the offseason, going into next season, unfortunately. So just before we get too deep into it, I just want to say, just from my point of view, and I want to get your thoughts too as well, Star. I just think that for me, I'm not going to say that I'm leaning either towards towards any side of the ball in particular, but I would like to see. I'm kind of with McCarthy. I wouldn't mind seeing some defensive players being taken in those first couple of rounds. Maybe not first round, but I would like to see a lineman. It is kind of a hit taken.
You want to go with a lineman, an offensive lineman.
No, I want to go with, I wouldn't mind going with the defensive lineman just because, I know we have Mozzie, but just, it was a shock to me. Maybe I just wasn't paying that much attention, but it was really a shock to me that he had shoulder surgery. And
Yeah.
I didn't really know that, and that's.
Nobody knew that till Mike said it I think that was the coaches meeting.
Okay. So I thought I was tripping. So it's just like, that was a shock to me. So just hearing that, and it's like, people saying, so it's going to be a wasted pick. And that's it. And he wouldn't have been, even if he didn't have shoulder surgery, he wouldn't have, he wouldn't have been a top pinnacle player by now. So he's still in development. So I definitely still want to see Mozzie out there, but just losing Hankins for me, of course, for everyone, was a big hit. So I just want to see them just continue to. You brought on Mike Zimmer, so why not just continue to hone it on the defensive side? Not saying the offensive side is shored up, and saying we have, we do have stars at some positions, but yes, granted, we have right now projected 3 undrafted starters for the O lineman next year. So, but we do have the depth. We did have a chance to see those guys last season in some games that didn't hugely matter, but they were able to get those snaps. So just saying that they've already had the opportunity to actually show themselves and what they have. So just being that, for me, just in my opinion, we did lose a lot of guys on the defensive side of the ball. So like I said, I wouldn't mind. I'm with Mike McCarthy, so I wouldn't mind seeing some different players going in the first couple rounds.
Okay. I think. See, me personally, I want to go BPA. And I know everybody who's campaigning for an offensive lineman will call me crazy. Like, what? No. But I'm like, yeah. What we need is an impact players that can come in right now and make an impact. That's what an impact player is. So I think we should go BPA. I know that we have, holes on the offensive line. Really, the only hole that I'm considering a hole is the tackle spot. Because it from what we've heard from Tyler Smith,
Right.
podcast. Shout out to Brock Hoffman. I don't know the name of it, but Brock Hoffman has a podcast. And he had Tyler Smith on, and Tyler was saying that, right now it's guard. He's training at guard, but, he has to switch. Steven and Mike have talked about how Tyler's versatile, and then you have the offensive line gurus like Duke Manyweather and Bosch that say, don't use him at all. Guard. Then you have people like the OC. Shout out to the OC that says, hey, we should switch him. Or we can switch him to tackle. If we don't end up getting one of the premium tackles, then move Tyler to tackle and insert TJ Bass at guard, or insert another, maybe a second or third round guard or something like that.
Right. And cut you off, and you re-sign Chuma, who does better at guard by being at tackle.
That's right. Chuma does better at guard. You have some good offensive line depth at the guard position.
Yeah.
In the center position, we have Steven. Now I don't know, but Steven said they would try TJ Bass out at guard. They said last year, Mike Solari, the offensive line coach, said that Austin Richards could be a center. I said guard, but I mean center. Center. And then we could also draft the center. There's a lot of, round 2 to 4 centers that we could get that probably could come in right now and start for us. So, I don't think the offensive line is as big as a question mark.
Right. I'm with you on that one.
Thinking it,
Yeah.
I think as long as we get an offensive lineman in the top 3 rounds, we should be good, whether it's center, guard, or tackle.
Exactly.
I feel like we have good depth. You know what I'm saying?
And to your point, that and what we've seen in previous years with the Cowboys and how they, Mike spoke on it last year. I forget the term they call it, but just being able to play different positions. That it has been a good and bad thing. For the Cowboys, I will say. We've seen the good and bad of it. Like, we had the good of it being that guys are being able to be versatile in different positions, but the bad of it can be like, hey, you don't know where this guy's going to be, or it kind of hinders the chemistry that you can build as a line if you keep switching. Trying to figure out where they fit. But this is the time for that. It's the time to figure out where you want these guys to be at. Like you said, like it rings true. Tyler Smith Mike McCarthy, Steven, like, yeah, he said about the versatility, but he mentioned that right now, Tyler's going to be guard. So just like you said, just hearing, and you hear when you hear things more than once, but it can be true, correct?
So like right now,
exactly. So like you said,
where there's smoke, there's fire. So
exactly.
Really just in the tackle department is where there's a question mark. And
this is a good point right here before we go. We have
I was about to say that too. I said, so on the right side, we don't really have any depth there. So I think that they're probably looking at Walesko, but Walesko hasn't been able to play at all because he's been hurt the past 2 seasons.
Right.
I don't know what we're going to do with Walesko. We're definitely probably going to have to sign a free agent or just get a developmental tackle in those lower rounds. I don't think that we should draft the right tackle in the first 3 rounds. We have Terrence Steele. Terrence Steele should pretty much be back to form, because he'll be over a year or so removed from that injury. So I'm not drafting the right tackle high, you know what I'm saying? But I will consider a right tackle in rounds 4 through 7. Obviously, I would consider getting a right tackle.
And to your point, and maybe someone who can be versatile at tackle or guard on the right side.
On the right side, that would be good.
Like Martin getting up there.
Yeah, that would be good because we got a bunch of left side players.
Right, you feel me? Yeah, just like on the defensive side, we have a bunch of edges, but we're lacking in the middle.
Right, we don't have
certain positions. You know what I mean?
Right, we don't have the right side players, so I definitely think we should, for depth purposes, we're gonna have to, like I said, get a free agent for that right side or draft a lower round. But my dream pick is just the best player available that we know can come in and get started right away. I'm not saying that if an offensive tackle is there and they're the best, or offensive guard or center is there and they're the best player on the board, pick them by all means.
Right.
But I also think that, if one of those top flight wide receivers fall, like Brian Thomas Jr. or Romo Dunze, which I don't think that, Brian Thomas could be there, but I don't think Roma Dunze or Marvin Harris or any of those guys are going to be there. But I mean, if they were to fall, that low, obviously it'd be like the 2020 draft where it was like we wasn't expecting CD to be right there, but he was.
Exactly.
And look how whenever we've gone BPA, we just get all pro players that really help us out a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And like to your point earlier, they can start now and make an impact now. Like you said,
now. Exactly. And I'm not going to pass up on Brian Thomas Jr. if like the 4th or 5th tackle is there on the board. You get what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, get the player. Because honestly, we do have wide receiver depth. So, you got guys like Jalen Tolbert and Jalen Brooks.
Right.
But I'm looking for another. Brandon Cooks, this is his last year. And honestly, me personally, I know people gonna call me crazy because I'm like, well, he caught his stride at the end of the season, but Brandon Cooks and Dak, and I don't know what it was, and like obviously they have another offseason to like work it out, but just that chemistry that you're just kind of expecting from a number 2 wide receiver just wasn't there.
Exactly.
And I think I really would like to see Dak with a true like X wide receiver. He doesn't have that. Like Brandon,
I totally agree.
Yeah,
I totally agree. So, like, and it's almost, I'm not saying it's like annoying, but like when I see Brandon Cooks tweeting out, man, y'all ain't seen nothing for 4 yet. Y'all ain't seen nothing yet. I'm like, bro, like, how many times y'all connect on that deep ball?
They didn't connect. They just, I don't know what it was. It was like that had with everybody but Brandon Cooks. It's like Brandon Cooks, unfortunately, you were the target that got bullied off the route that started the cascade in the play.
Thank you.
Deep ball when the ball was right in front of you. You didn't try to. It's like I need a dog. I need
exactly.
to care with another dog. We have Jake Ferguson. But we saw over the season, it's too easy to eliminate Jake Ferguson and CeeDee Lamb when they want
exactly.
So it's like we need another threat. Now, another threat could be that we have to have a very good running game. But hey, when you get in the playoffs, defenses are better. They're not gonna sit there and let you run the ball. Y'all remember the Super Bowl?
Exactly.
Rams and the Bengals. The Rams kept trying to run the ball, and the Bengals was like, "You're not gonna run the ball today."
Right,
So
and especially if it's like we're going running back by committee. I mean, if we're being honest,
we've got to
like Royce Freeman. Like, no disrespect, but we're going running back by committee this year. Like,
right,
everything that we need to know. Like at this point, of course, we're doing the draft of running back, but it's a rookie quarterback, rookie running back. You know, we're not. I mean, now granted, some rookie running backs can come out, you know, explosive. We saw what Gibbs was able to do for the Lions. And like,
I mean, if we can get one of them ones, like if we can somehow and now the mock drafts have Trey Benson there in the third. I don't know if he's gonna beat her in the third, but if he's there, you know, we got to get a running back to me in the top 3 rounds. Because I agree with shout out to DMV. We need to have DMV on the show, but DMV had talked about how we just need a dog. You know what I'm saying? Like we've been trying like the running back by committee, and we kind of need that dog again. Like when we had Zeke, that kind of just like puts a spark into the offense. You know, Jahmyr Gibbs did, just like CMC did. Like we need a running back that's kind of him. You know what I'm saying? Because if not, you're gonna have to really have an amazing run scheme.
Right.
And we are getting help with the run scheme. You know, we hired other people like I think his name's Steve Shimko, who's the offensive coordinator from Boston College. And they had like a top rushing offense in college. So, you know, we've obviously brought him in like, hey, help us design the run game because Jeff Blasco.
Yeah. I mean, we saw the disconnect when he wasn't there, and unfortunately, the disconnect still stayed. Even when he came back, like we did see an improvement. We did see Tony, and even
we saw a slight improvement, but
he caught a stride. But it's like,
the scheme was still like, this isn't working. And I feel like with Solari, it was just a little bit outdated. Yeah, and he didn't have the guys for the scheme that he wanted to run, but he kind of just stayed with it. And I just don't like that. I don't like when coaches are just like, hey, this is what we're going to do. And even though it's not really best for the personnel that I have, Dan Quinn, you know what I'm saying?
Right. There needs to be no adjustment. That's one thing that you never want to see. Not just as a fan, but maybe as a player, maybe as maybe another coach on the team saying, hey, man, or even, I mean, I can only imagine, of course, we don't know what they're thinking. We're not in their heads, but I can only imagine how many times Mike McCarthy's on the sideline. Of course, you can call up Dan Quinn on the microphone, but are you going to call him up on the mic in front of everybody else on the radio? You know what I'm saying? You're not able to go on the sideline, talk to your man like, hey, okay, this isn't working.
What can we do? Right. And it's like,
how can we bring both our sides together so we can play, complementary football, which is what Mike McCarthy has been constantly preaching since he got here. So,
since he got here, right.
Imagine how he feels when he can't holler at his boy like, hey, man, what you doing? Oh, you going to step in the booth? Okay, so you can talk to him in practice all you want. You can talk to him during the week all you want.
You can be able to talk to him in games. And, like, those are, like, we just didn't have that dynamic when Dan was here. And, not to segue too much, but, I think I've been thinking a lot about this whole, like, Dan Quinn situation, right? Because I will say this, like, going into that playoff game, I had full confidence in Dan Quinn. I was not worried about the defense. I said, listen, the past 2 years, the defense did pretty good. They haven't been great. They wasn't amazing. You can call the 2022 49ers performance pretty, great. The other performance wasn't, when we faced the 49ers in 2021, that wasn't great. That was a pretty good performance. But, he hadn't shown me anything in playoffs for us to panic. So, when you look at what happened, and I'm like, the issue is not that we always say, he's saying it's not about that we lost, it's how we lost. And how it's like there was just no answers for this 7th seed team. Right. And it's like, me with Dan Quinn, this is my issue. Like, whether you sabotage the team or not, I don't know. I can't definitively say that. it does look like, based off of what happened, that you were completely and if for us as fans, for us to know on film the packages that we could have run to at least be able to stop the bleeding in the run game, and for him not to call those packages, like Micah said, that's my issue with Dan Quinn. Why didn't you call the packages? And
shout
out, shout out to Wanye Thomas, and shout out to King Capers and Terrence Parsons, Michael Parsons' brother, and shout out to Jay Tuck, CFO Sports. Shout out to all of the for them guys doing an interview with Wanye Thomas. But I'll say this as far as like Dan Quinn and linebackers, because I think Wanye Thomas was asked, can you dispel the rumors that Dan Quinn didn't like linebackers, and Wanye Thomas was like, oh no, he loves linebackers. He loves linebackers. But I want y'all to think about something. What linebacker has Dan Quinn drafted and molded that was a traditional linebacker? And I can't see y'all's comments. I'm going to try to go. Mickey, you can see the comments. Because I had just asked. You're good. I had just asked them, what linebacker did Dan Quinn draft and mold? To say, oh, he loves linebackers. Because y'all do know, like, Dan Quinn is a defensive line coach, right? He's a defensive line coach. That's his specialty. People say Dan Quinn loves linebackers because of the Legion of Boom. That's the only reason why they say it, because of Bobby Wagner. Right. But Dan Quinn didn't draft Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner was inherited. He inherited the whole Legion of Boom. He did not build the Legion of Boom. Right. He inherited that whole defense. Now, granted, did he go on to win a Super Bowl with them? Absolutely, right? And then ask yourself, if he loved linebackers so much and he valued a true middle linebacker, why, when he got to Atlanta, why didn't he try to draft his next Bobby Wagner?
That's a good point.
Like,
and even coming here, I mean, like, I know he did draft.
But why didn't he try to draft a true middle linebacker, even just to sit behind LBE? Because look, in Atlanta, he got Deion Jones. Deion Jones was a hybrid, super fast. Like, Deion Jones was like the first, like, these crazy fast linebackers that pretty much run 4-4s coverage type of linebackers. And Deion Jones only had one good year under Dan Quinn, and then it was cascading downhill. Now Deion Jones can barely find a team to stay on.
Right.
So when you look at that, then you look at when Dan Quinn came here. The guy that we drafted high that was a linebacker, and Michael Parsons, he moved him to permanent edge.
Right.
Never saw Jabril Cox. We never saw David Harper.
Right. And they were let go.
Them. Right. You didn't really even mix them into to get them some playing time. You never did that. And I can understand some people say, oh, shout out to Boss Cowboy. Boss Cowboy's argument is that it was the front office that cut the linebacker depth because they wanted to protect LBE. But then I have to question and say, well, that doesn't really make sense because they haven't done that in the past. They don't cut depth because they have a guy there. Like, that's not what they do. Like, when they had Sean Lee, we still had linebacker depth, and the Jalen Smith and Letty Vander Esch. I don't know. Yeah, they were still here. Yeah, they were. Vander Esch. Sean Lee was here at the end of his year. They were here. Yeah. But even so, like, we've always had linebackers, even though there's been the guy. You know what I'm saying? Or look at somebody.
And LBE had, I'm in control, but LBE, knowing his injury history, why would you not? Like to your point, have somebody backing him up.
Have somebody backing him up because his injury history. So I was like, why would we cut all the depth? Why would the front office do that when they haven't done that? When we brought Jason Witten back, they didn't say cut Schultz and Jarwin.
Right.
They just couldn't do snaps. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly. Yeah.
For them to not do it at any of the other positions, you have guys like Nashawn Wright that you could have cut. Why is he still on the roster? There's plenty of guys that they could have cut, but they were specifically cutting linebackers and defensive tackles and nose tackles. under Dan Quinn Sr. They were consistently cutting those guys. So it just has to make, they were cutting defensive tackles and linebackers just to protect LVE. I don't see that because they haven't done that in the past where they will cut the depth just to protect their guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just keep that guy on the bench, So I don't know. All I say is, with Dan Quinn is that the way he moved and how he moved after it looks pretty shady. You know what I'm saying? Like, then you're not only going after defensive coaches, but you're also going after offensive coaches.
Exactly. And players that we would have liked having here.
Right.
Or even, not players specifically, but like you mentioned, specific positions that we could use here. Now you're getting Washington.
Exactly. And so that's only my only question with Dan Quinn. You know what I'm saying? We do know that Dan Quinn likes them crazy ass experiments. He's the one that said when he looked at Marquise Bell, he saw a linebacker. He's the one who drafted Mozzie, and he did want to draft Mozzie because Micah Parsons showed the text messages live on air that him and Dan wanted Mozzie Smith.
Right.
But Dan Quinn, if you listen to how Dan Quinn talks, when he sees players, he don't see them like everybody else sees them. He starts having these mad scientist experiments like, I really see Mozzie is I really see he could really pass rush. We just do this because he's a fierce coach. So he thinks that he can mold every player into what he wants them to be.
Exactly.
But obviously, Dan Quinn, you're not that good at that because what even is the defensive lineman that you develop here?
Yeah. That's a great point because even it's wild because I really didn't put it together. But last night, shout out to the final word. I heard Big Game talking about how just to your point, Star, about defensive linemen. It's specifically DTs. Like in the past 3 years, they let go. Like I said, I didn't put it all together, but they let go Ridgeway, Ohana. Now Hankins wasn't someone we drafted, of course, but they let him walk. Like you just mentioned just now, having Mozzie lose weight, trying to use him as a different, like they mentioned that. I think like they mentioned he drafted him, but you're trying to switch up what he does from what he did in college.
Exactly.
Like you said,
all this the key point. Sorry, not to cut you off, but the key point is Stephen Jones said that what's our coach's name? Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer will be using Mozzie like he was used in Michigan. And so that could give us a little bit of hope, Cowboys Nation, because basically what Mozzie was being asked to do last year, it was completely different than what he felt like he was drafted to do. You know what I'm saying? Because he was asked to change his stance and everything. So, and that was a lot of reworking technique-wise. And
yes, while you're trying to learn the game, entering the NFL, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And even Micah said his first year coming in, he's Micah Parsons, but even he himself said that he had to adjust to the league. He was trying to learn. They moved him around, but he was trying to learn the game for himself. He was trying to figure out things for himself at the same time. So as a rookie, you have all that going on in your head, and then you have the coach who everyone is saying, he's so cool. He can, he's this mastermind. He's a genius. Oh yeah, okay. So Mike is going to agree with what Dan Quinn is saying.
Exactly. I agree with that 100. That's a good point. Like there just may have been a lot of. I think it was a lot of pressure on Mozzie. I think there was a lot of pressure on him, and I think when you come to the NFL and your coach tells you like, "Hey, change everything you know, plus take on these 300-pound linemen," it's a lot. And if they were, Dan Quinn asking Mozzie, which they had said that they wanted Mozzie to pass rush from the day that they drafted him, they said, we think that he could be a good pass rusher as well. That's not what Mozzie was doing in Michigan. So I think his whole world was flipped upside down. And I think, that's probably what, caused him to lose so much weight, because he's probably like, okay, I need to drop weight so that I can be able to be better, get a better push off or get off of the ball so I can be quicker. You know what I'm saying? Because you're 330 pounds. You're like, I can't. Everybody was saying Mozzie's get off when he first started was terrible. You know what I'm saying? Because it was just a totally different thing. So I think Mozzie, it was just too much. I do think what Mike Zimmer's going to do is just kind of bring him back down to the foundation of what he knows, and I think we're going to be a better Mozzie Smith. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm hoping for, at least, is that Mozzie, he will gain his confidence back by doing what he knows.
And you know what, I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off, but as you were just saying that statement, like you said, kind of bringing the player back, and not just particularly on Mozzie, but just a lot of, like you mentioned, these players who've been moved to different positions. Like we just heard Marquise Bell going back to safety.
That's another one, Marquise Bell.
Like literally what you said, I thought of Bell first. Like it'll bring his confidence back to what he was, known to be doing, and going back to safety, making those better decisions. Like you said, bringing the player down and just kind of relaxing their mind. Like Bell isn't a rookie like he was like Mozzie was last year, but. They still have young minds and still adjusting to the game. So it's very important that you, like you said, kind of just bring these guys down. Kind of, they're already hyped up playing the game of football. They're already hyped up playing for the Cowboys. They're hyped up because they're on TV. They want to play for their team. But like you said, if you have so much going on in your mind, like these vets had to go through enough playing the game, for years upon years upon years. So you can imagine how these young guys feel coming in. And our team is made up, as you guys saw last year. Well, we were the second youngest team in the league, so we have some really young guys on the team who, unfortunately at the same time are coming into the league at the same time. So we have that times 53. But we have a lot of we have a lot of young guys in the depth, and now we have we talked about star young guys, kind of coming to the forefront being starters this year. So we're gonna have to. They're going to have to bring down a lot of these players' mindset and just kind of keep them. They have a new coach coming in, so it's going to be a switch.
Right, it's going to be a switch, but I think that these players under Mike Zim will be able to get comfortable and get into their natural positions.
Yes.
And I will concede this. I'm going to go a little bit off track, but I'm going to bring it right back. I will continue to say that when it came to the position of middle linebacker specifically, that the front office blocked Dan Quinn because they did want LVE to be on the field.
Right.
I will say that. I will acknowledge that, and I will concede that. Now, for all the linebacker depth being cut, and for us carrying 6-7 safeties and only 2 to 3 linebackers, I do not think that the front office just did that and they didn't give a hell what Dan Quinn said. I think if Dan Quinn was like, nah, bro, we need linebacker depth because it's important for my scheme, we would have carried more linebackers than what we had carried safety. That's just my opinion if you look at how Dan Quinn has spoken over the years. But anyway, moving back to this. So when we talk about, because that's something else we wanted to talk about, how confident are we in this backup depth?
Yeah.
Y'all put in the chat, how confident are y'all? We can go by group. By group.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, we can do that.
We can go group by group. So I think we'll start off with the offensive line depth. How confident are you guys on a scale of 1 to 10 in TJ Bass, Brock Hoffman, Austin Richards?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if those guys were to get significant playing time, how good do you feel about that?
Right.
I tell you, my answer would be, if all of those guys were starting, Brock Hoffman, TJ Bass, and Austin Richards, right now, my confidence, I'm not going to lie to you, probably would be at a level 5 or 6 as far as them being dominant.
Right.
And it's being more brought down because of Austin Richards. We weren't able to see him at all.
Right. Barely.
In preseason, but that's preseason. So I can't now, if we get another look at Austin Richards and it looks like, oh man, he made games and there's reports through training camp. He looked a 7.5. That's pretty good, Choctaw. So if we evaluate these guys in the offseason,
we definitely lost 7-7. That's for sure too.
And we think okay, these guys made gains. I probably will move up to 7-8.
Yeah.
7-8. Because let me tell you something. I'm real confident in TJ Bass. I'm really high on TJ Bass.
Yeah.
I'm right now. I want TJ Bass somewhere. I don't care what rookie we draft. I want TJ Bass in the starting
on that line.
Because he is so good, and he's going to get better with just more and more reps. So he needs to be starting. Right. I don't know where he's going to go in the line, but I want him starting, whether that's as center or guard.
I agree with you there, and that's really what has me conflicted about, you know, where I guess I really truly want Tyler, because I love Tyler at guard, but just knowing that he's so good at both positions, that helps. Like to your point, that helps out TJ, because you said we need strong starters. Like let's be real, y'all. Like us having O-line questions, something we always have, but this year is definitely a little bit more dire than previous years. So having TJ Bass, a great starter, would be a great improvement for us.
Yeah, I think so too. So I'm very high on them. Right now, my confidence level is at 5 or 6, just because of the question mark of offense. Okay, let's move now to our defensive line. Okay, so we have now who will be Sam Williams, Junior Fehoko,
D-Law, Michael.
Mozzie.
Okay.
We're talking about the backup, Mozzie, or the guys who are basically going to be starting this year. Mozzie, and maybe even
did we keep Chauncey?
Yeah, maybe even Chauncey goes.
Okay.
So how do y'all feel about that group? So how do y'all feel about?
And also, I think it's Tyrus. Is it Tyrus Wheat? Or do they have him?
Yeah, Tyrus Wheat. That's another guy. I don't know if he's gonna be getting. He did play in some games last year.
Yeah, he came in a little late in the season, and I don't know if it was special teams or maybe like I think he had one maybe. A couple plays.
He was a key player. It was like a key player in 1 or 2 games.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's a big dude. He's a big dude. I remember when I went to training camp last year at the Star. He's huge. So and Dan Quinn had his big butt playing linebacker. See, I don't think he's gonna be on the line, because that guy's huge. But what do you think about? So that's Tyrus Reed, Chauncey Golston, Mozzie Smith, Sam Williams, Junior Fehoko. How do y'all feel about those 5? How do you feel about those 5? It's like these guys being possibly starters, possible starters.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. Like naming those guys right there. Yeah, I would say mine. I'll probably say like I guess I agree with Choctaw. He says about a 6. I would definitely say like 6.5. Just because I want to see those guys have another get like another year under their belt. Like we didn't get to see Poco at all. Unfortunately, I was really excited to see him. Hopefully, we'll be able to see him. Yeah, so we'll definitely be able to get to see him going forward, and really like I mentioned a week. You know, just seeing him last year, like you said, like he didn't get in a lot, but just being able to see him on the field, you know, and I think I had a clip from last year from training camp, like you mentioned. I think I had it in my intro last year where Mike was actually kind of. I think it was another player who was on there previously by the last name of Johnson. I forget his first name. And he's actually talking to Johnson and Wheat on the sideline, just kind of giving them pointers what to do when I think they were working out in the linebacker group together, where they did have him listed as linebacker. So just seeing that, you know, he has contact with, you know, he's already kind of gotten some teaching from Micah, hopefully able to hold on, and just being around the other guys in that group. You know, and having a year under his belt in the training camp, and just being able to go and have another full offseason with the organization. You know, you really just can't do anything but go up. Hopefully, if you do your studying, like you mentioned, just going in the film, seeing how you can improve, and you know, just gain the mindset, knowing that you're not going to be able to fall back on. Okay, well, I'm going to be sitting out until this guy, until maybe until something happens, or they give me a chance, or this or that. No, it's okay. You're going to the mindset. Okay, this is going to be my spot, or you know, I'm going to be one of the starters. I got to be able to step up and be able to bring something to this position that no one else in this room is bringing. You know,
bringing right. I do think this year. I do think that when you ask younger players to step up, it does create a different level of hungriness and not entitlement.
Right.
I do think that under Dan Quinn, there were certain players like J-Ron Curse that they felt entitled to their spot because they knew no matter what I do, I'm going to be on this field.
Thanks.
But this is a year we finally have removed down that wall. You remove down the wall of Dante Fowler, Lawrence Armstrong, Leighton Vander Esch, you know, Jonathan Hankins, you remove this fall down of players that have been preventing. You know, I don't know if Gilly's gonna be brought back or not, but Gilly is a player where obviously he's very good and he played very well for us. But having guys like Gilly here prevents guys like Easy McQuamu, who's been cooking for the past 3 years on the bench. You know what I'm saying? And we know
it's crazy. Like I make it through all, but it's crazy that we see someone who stood out in the playoff game.
Right. Like these guys have talent.
That's crazy.
And they have talent. And you know, this is going to be the year where we can finally see and evaluate these players.
Yeah.
And of course, I do think that like we're going to bring in probably some more free agents, because the Dallas Cowboys always do that right before training camp. You know, they love to sign players during that time, players that have been released, you know, players that were just still sitting, and teams are just waiting to bring them in until after the draft. So I do think that, you know, we're obviously our team is going to be mixed with some free agents that are not even on our team right now. But I still think that, you know, it's good and it's bad. It's good if we can get some veterans in some key places like defensive tackle.
Yeah.
I kind of like, people may call me crazy as hell, but I kind of like this because I kind of want to see what the young guys have. That's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could have gone out and we could have spent a lot of money. But honestly, if it were me, I wouldn't have spent a lot of money in this free agency. I would have only gotten two to three positions. I would have got defensive tackle. I would have got Derrick Henry.
Right, facts.
And that would have been it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let my young depth guys play. Like all those pass rushers, I'm not signing. That was in the free agency. No. Corners and safeties, I'm good. Like I have corners and safeties like that have been on the bench.
Right.
So I'm ready to see them play. You know what I'm saying? To me, the only two like glaring holes that we have going into the draft is defensive tackle and running back.
Right. And that's another name too. I would have added on too. I'm with you there on Choctaw. Derrick Henry and Stephon Diggs. Yeah, I would have loved that. I ain't gonna lie. That would have been great. I mean, I would have definitely, you know, if they was only shipping them off for next year's second. Yeah, right. I would have probably took on Stephon Diggs, but honestly, no, I wouldn't, because I gotta pay CD. I'm gonna be honest. You're not gonna have two. And Stephon Diggs, the issue with Stephon Choctaw is we all want him, but you have to give him a brand new deal. That's the only issue. Right, yeah. Like you gotta give CD, because when you have it like this, like you have to have a balance. Yeah. You can't have it to where I gotta give two wide receivers a brand new deal in the same year, because if you do that, it's basically like their cap hit, their large limit cap is gonna be hitting at the same time, and you kind of don't want it. You feel me? Like you don't want, because of course you can put it off to where their cap hits are like really low the first year, but if you sign both to a long-term deal, like those cap hits are gonna be hitting at the same time. Either you're gonna have to restructure or you're gonna have to cut. I mean, that's just how it works. So I think you kind of want, like, you know, it mismatched. Like Philly just signed Devontae Smith, but they still have AJ Brown on the contract. And AJ Brown likely, if they draft a wide receiver this year, or if there's a wide receiver draft next year, they're probably going to get rid of AJ Brown. Right.
Because you're not going to be paying two wide receivers on your roster that's taking up $60 million. Right. You're not going to do that. That's crazy.
Right. Wow, drafted another one.
Exactly. Wow, that's too much. So, but anyway, so I think, because I said defensive line, offensive line, or the running back room.
Running back. Yeah, speaking of Derrick Henry, or running back by committee now. I mean,
we feeling about that running back room.
Yes.
Right. So,
yeah, Rico Dowdle, and this is not, we're not saying they're less players, but just these are the running backs we're working with right now. Rico Dowdle, Deuce Vaughn, Hunter Lipke, you know, when he's involved in the run game. Now we got newly signed Royce Freeman. And
that's back right now. And Malik Davis, but I mean that's guys on the practice squad. So
right
now, let me tell you, the confidence in the running back room is not high.
No.
Because essentially, with the running backs that we have now, we are really going to have an amazing run scheme.
Right.
And I hate to say that, but when you have my guy like Deuce, who I had Deuce rated the #1 running back last year. Yes, I did. It's still on my Instagram page. You can see it. Because Deuce was so explosive on film. And I'm like, the only issue with Deuce is that he's 5'5".
Right.
Now, of course, last year, they only really, when Deuce actually had actual reps, he actually looked good, like in the Jets game. But then for some reason, they just pretty much eliminated Deuce from all game plan, only threw him in there in garbage time when we weren't even trying to get yards running the ball. Like,
You know, they were even, I mean, it didn't seem like they were scheming. They just had him running. It's
right. Just running head first. Like, there was no scheme, there was no lane for him to do anything. So we couldn't even really get a proper back. I don't know why they, and it could be that they were reserving Deuce. You know, they redshirted a bunch of guys that, like, we just didn't see. Hopefully Deuce has some type of role, because I do think the guy has skill. He has a good skill set. You know what I'm saying? He has a very high skill set, actually. You know what I'm saying? And
very much so. And that's also why it's important to make sure that we like you said, we have the guys in the positions for as far as the O-line, but like you said, that scheme is going to be very important, because I mean, last year we saw the issue that Biotish had, and that just kind of had trickle down effect, you know, with the run game, you know, with us.
I mean, it was a mess. It was just a muddy mess there in that middle, and that's why we couldn't really run that power. That power scheme we was trying to run, it was bad. But
and not just Biotish, you know, Zach Martin was having some problems as well.
Zach Martin was definitely having problems. That's another one. Zach Martin is. I'm sorry, guys. I love him to death, but he's on the decline.
Right.
He's not going to get any better. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, you know, I think this is his last year of guaranteed money, so he may be gone next year. So, you know, those are two picks, you know, you got to look at, you know, as far as your right side, because your right side is good for now, but next year you know, we need to start thinking about what is life after Zach Martin look like, because unless, and I don't see Zach, if Zach Martin still wants to play after next year, I don't think he's going to be back, because I don't know I don't see the Dallas Cowboys throwing more money at him. Unless next year's offensive line class is so bad that they're like, listen, we're going to franchise tag him or something.
Right.
But if the offensive line, just like this year, reason why Tyron is gone is because they're like, this draft class is loaded with offensive linemen. So why would we pay you? You know, why do we need to pay you any form of money at all? You know, we can just draft a replacement here in the draft. You know, unfortunately. But I think if this left tackle or this tackle class was terrible, I think we would have kept Tyron, because it's like we don't have nobody to replace him with. So it's just like you're dependent. It's just going to depend based on what the draft class looks like, because that's what we put all of our stock into the draft class.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with them figuring out, you know, Tyron's, I guess, newer, you know, practice schedule, and I mean, it just worked for the Cowboys. Like, I don't know if we're gonna sit over there when he goes to the Jets now. I think that, just in my opinion, like, I'm not saying it's gonna be the same thing, but I mean, just me personally, I would have loved seeing Tyron just retire with the Cowboys, because I mean, he gave you what, damn near.
Oh, absolutely. I would have loved to see Tyron retire with the Cowboys. I do think that Tyron leaving was just long overdue.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. Like, he should have been gone.
Yeah.
I think we should have traded him like 3 years ago and got some high value picks for him, but of course we don't do that here.
Right. They talk about more picks, like you can use some of these guys to get these picks, but you like, your guys, but you don't pay your guys.
Exactly, you don't pay your guys. So it's gonna be it'll be very interesting to see what Tyron does over there in the Jets land, if he can even stay healthy. But shout out to him. You know, he's an op now, so whatever. But you know, as far as the running back room, you know, those first 3 picks, I think in there it needs to be an offensive lineman,
a running back. The third pick could be the other position could be wide receiver, linebacker, defensive lineman. Yeah. I don't care. That's another room. I'm sure a lot of people don't really have, you know, confidence in the linebacker room. I mean, I take that back. You know, we did sign Kendricks.
That's another one to talk about. Yeah, we do. Yeah. We're definitely going to have to draft some linebacker depth. Yeah. I am happy that we do have Eric Kendricks, because I just think it's going to do wonders for us as far as having a true middle linebacker. We haven't had that since Sean Lee. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And to your earlier point, like you mentioned, having not just a veteran, but just someone who's been in that position and being able to mentor the rest of the room. Like, we saw that last year with Gilmore coming on. We saw that with Cooks coming on. And I know Zach Martin has been here, but we had, younger guys at the line. So finally getting Zach Martin back in training camp, being able to teach. I mean, you saw Bass talk about it himself, like, once Zach Martin came back, he said he was teaching them just the small things and how to play golf.
Yeah, Bass was
nuances. You know what I'm saying? So just having that veteran presence in the room is important.
Yeah, it's super important. I think, you definitely need veteran presence. We are excited for Overshown to come back, but guys, our expectations of him can't be too high. He's coming back from an ACL injury. We all know it takes about a year. Now, what I say is what's good with him is, like, between like somebody like Jordan Lewis, Tony Pollard, Terrence Steele's injury, Michael Gallup's injury compared to Overshown's injury and Diggs' injury is that they're going to be pretty much a year removed. You see those other guys that I named, they run a year removed.
Right. Yeah.
They got hurt like middle end of season.
Yeah.
These players, Diggs got hurt week 3 of the season. Overshown got hurt in preseason. So these guys probably are going to look a lot better than what the Terrence Steele and the Michael Gallups and
right in the first game of preseason at that. So
it was either the first or second game of preseason.
Yeah.
So these guys are they're ahead. They're further ahead than Michael Gallup, further ahead than Jordan Lewis and Tony Pollard and Terrence Steele.
Yeah,
they're going to look better just because of the time frame. So we do think the football gods were that both of their injuries was early. So now it's like they're going to kind of return back to form. They should be pretty much back to form like very early in the season. That's what I think. But obviously, like you said, in that linebacker room, we got Eric Kendrick, so he's really going to be able to help mold those linebackers and really be able to teach everybody them scheme on the field. So that's actually a huge signing for us. If we could just get us a veteran defensive tackle,
right.
I do think that we will be fine on position-wise and adding BPA, just adding the best players available each round.
That's what he needed. I mean, because Damone Clark, he made. Granted, he wasn't the best player last year, but the previous year, he's showing out with half a year. I'm saying half a year he had 50 plus tackles, and then he's showing up in very important games. So just had like I said, just talking about Kendrick, someone actually able to mentor him. Like, who was he looking to?
He was lost.
LVE went out week 5, so he's
and Bell. They had nobody in that room. They were completely lost, and it showed. It showed all season.
Absolutely,
they were completely lost from start to finish. And now they'll have somebody in there that can actually mentor them and show them on the field. And I think in those players' defense and Clark and Bell's defense, they were playing out of position. We had a lot of guys. Dan Quinn had Hurst playing out of position. Like, everybody was just out of position last year. I don't really know. It can't all be front office guys. Is all I'm saying. Like,
they just get front office where you having these players play out of position.
Right. They played a part in it. I'm not saying they didn't play a part in it, but we cannot sit here and act like Dan Quinn's hands is just free of sin, because no, it is not. No, it is not.
Exactly.
He said out of his own mouth. I mean, was it the front office that had him having LVE line up at edge? Like,
man, when I saw that in training camp, I'm just like, let me try something different. But I'm like, why though? Like, we already don't have a surplus of edges, but okay.
Like, he was doing stuff, guys. Come on, guys. Y'all know he was doing stuff that didn't make no damn sense.
That was crazy. Yeah,
y'all know.
Experimentation. Like, come on now.
Our goal line package is Donovan Wilson as middle linebacker. Like, be serious, Dan Quinn. Like, he was just not. I don't know what. Let's just move on. Anyway,
right.
We can close just giving a small update on the Dak Prescott case, and then we'll be out of here. So we've given y'all almost an hour
and really just being real with y'all, some off top of the head type. I think I agree with you, Star. It's a fire show right here. We kind of came together the last minute, and I think we just been kind of firing off the topics, just giving our own opinions. And like I said,
we just going. This is just a freestyle show for real, guys. Like we literally was like, hey, we're going live, literally like an hour before we went live, and so we just freestyling our thoughts and stuff like that.
Yeah, we got to and right. Tell them, Star. Look, I just be like,
that's why it's called Offseason Convos. We're just having a conversation.
Right. Pretty much, and the last mention of DQ, like Taven says, the DQ experience was trash. Like,
it wasn't good, guys. I'm sorry, like it wasn't good. The experiment.
Right. All we talk about is players being out of position.
All the constant stunting our defensive tackles out of position on rundowns. I just don't know what
playing 10 yards off the ball.
10 yards. The corner's playing 10 yards off the ball. Like I just that was preventing our pass rush from getting home. I mean, it was just a lot of issues, guys. Doesn't mean Dave Quinn is the devil or anything like that. Like I'm not trying to say that. Like I'm just saying
it wasn't right. It wasn't all bad. When he was a GM, he wasn't. He wasn't.
Exactly. It was. I think I said that in the season. I said, listen, our defense good, but boy, when they can't stop something, they can't stop anything.
Sis.
One thing they can't
even a little bit, y'all. Y'all can't stop them in a little bit. Y'all can't stop it a little bit.
They can't stop nothing. Like it was.
I'm telling you,
it was just and I'm sorry, Dan Quinn. I'll never forgive you for that performance. It's just inexcusable. I'm sorry. It's inexcusable.
Right.
But anyway, I'm moving on from that.
Just give a quick update on Dak's case. A shout out to BLS, Bitch Love Sports.
BLS, Dak Attack, Home. Shout out to all the content creators that were covering this story better than the old media has been covering it.
Mm-hmm. Period.
And 105. I think 105.3, they scared as hell. They like, because how we went off them, they're like, we just gonna stay away from, we ain't gonna say shit because
that's the actual news now. Oh, good idea.
They haven't said none of that. But anyway, a quick update is that Dak Prescott's case in Dallas. So what happened is the defendant, she filed her case in Dallas. Dak filed his case in Collin County. So they asked for the case to dismiss the case in Dallas without prejudice. Without prejudice just means that I can bring this suit again. If you say with prejudice, that means you can never bring this lawsuit. You can never file for this lawsuit again against this specific person. So they're just moving it to everything to Collin County for convenience of venue. Now, based on shout out to Dak Attack and BLS, and Mark Holmes, because they've done a thorough breakdown. Based off of the allegations, it sounds like a bunch of bullshit. And of course, this is not me being insensitive to those who are victims of sexual assault. I have close friends that have been victims of sexual assault. So sexual assault is something that is important and dear to my heart.
Yeah, very much so.
Practice family law, so I deal with children who have been sexually assaulted, and so I'm very sensitive to sexual assault. I'm just saying, based on the allegations that I've read, this case it really does look like an extortion lawsuit. And if you look at the amount of money that they're asking for, is just kind of like unheard of. Like $100 million is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like. 100,000, 200,000, but $100 million based off of what you said, emotional damage. Like, nah, bro. Like that's not. That's just not it. That's not normal. You know what I'm saying? For these types of suits, that's why it. But Dak Attack said he knows the guy, and the guy's basically a sleazeball. So I mean, I'm not shocked, but I think ultimately we just see how it goes. I know we know Dak, and Dak is not that type of person. Now, if it comes out, there's some hardcore evidence showing that he is, then we're going to have to rethink things. But, as far as we know, like, Dak is not that type of person. He's a Walter Payton Man of the Year.
Absolutely.
Like, this guy fights for cancer, fights for suicide prevention, So there's nothing in Dak's history that you could say that he's this person.
I think I may cut you off, but I didn't read the article in full, but I think I seen something where like his lawsuit with I think something will be donated to like a charity or something like that. I think
probably because he doesn't even want. He don't need the woman's money, but he's suing her for money. They probably donate to actually like sexual assault victims and stuff like that because this woman,
you know what I'm saying? So
like she's playing games. It seems like she's playing games, and that these lawyers are trying to get a come up. And shout out to Jazz because Jazz told us that the lawyers, they don't even practice this type of like civil law.
Exactly.
Right? Like these high profile like sexual abuse cases against celebrities and stuff like that. They practice family law like I practice family law. So I'm like, these ninjas are just looking for a come up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that is like, you know, like I said, it could come out that it's all true and Dak Prescott is really a wolf in sheep's clothing. But you know, I just don't believe that right now. So we'll see how it goes. But we didn't have quite as many people in the chat tonight as we usually do. But I know off season for the everybody, all the content creators have said numbers have been way down.
Yeah, been crazy. Yeah,
the content community is just, you know, I think it's just
stressed out. We just a little stressed out, y'all. Draft next week.
But I think y'all will be back with us. I think y'all will be back after the draft and stuff like that, so we can actually like talk football and dissect coaches and stuff like that, and not just all these rumors that are happening.
Right, exactly.
But thank you for everybody being here. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please like the video. Share. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. Help Mickey and I grow our channels. You can see our cash apps there on the screen. Mickey, you ain't have any last words?
Just like Star was saying, thank you everybody joining us. You know, I know we hopped on a little bit late, but like we said, it's just, you know, something we cooked up, you know, just a little bit before jumping on. So like I said, we just want to thank you guys for your time. You did, like Star said, you didn't have to be here. So all season, you know, everybody's chilling, you know, we just, you know, just kind of laid back. So we just trying to, you know, grow our voices, you know, during this, you know, quote unquote slow part of the time. But like I said, we appreciate y'all's time and just really, you know, just rocking with us, you know, every week, you know, whenever, you know, you do so. But catch us next week. We are going to come back before the draft next week, you know, to do a show, you know, the night before, just to kind of give our final thoughts on who we think, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Who we think. And maybe we'll do like our pet cats, or like, you know, we'll have our top 5 like dream players. Because we had just said positions.
Yeah.
Maybe next week, you know, we'll give y'all our top 5 or top 7 players. It's like, if we could get any of these players in the first round, I mean, we'll be happy. You know what I'm saying? I won't be happy until Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb get extended.
Facts.
But I will play and be happy for a day or two about the draft, because it's just, at least it's football related and not rumor related. But
yeah. No, I was just gonna. I don't know. I just kind of thought the last minute for as far as draft concerned. Like I was wondering if I know the week leading up to the draft, if anything is gonna, like, you know, with the teams, you know, just, you know, maybe the players they might be interested in. I know they had their 30 visits and things like that, but if hopefully we'll get a little bit more insight or maybe what some of the teams ahead of us, you know, might be aiming towards, and hopefully we'll, like, just leading up, you know, the night before, hopefully we'll have more of an idea of who we will end up picking at number 24.
Yeah. This year, you know, we don't have a set position, and I do think that, you know, we are going BPA, you know, based off of what Steven said this week. They believe that they have a lot of young depth at all positions, and, you know, they don't have to reach or draft for need. Jerry said we will be drafting for right now this year. We're not drafting for this year. So we're gonna see based off of these picks. Are you drafting for right now, Jerry, or are you drafting for the future? Because last year, you know, and I even argued against it, but last year was a futures draft. Shout out to Boss Cowboy and Jay Tuck, because they were saying it wasn't what my ears wanted to hear, but they're like, it was a futures draft. This was not a draft for the future. I mean, for right now at all. And they were saying to be true. So shout out to them guys for sticking to their guns, because a lot of people was not trying to hear it, including me. I was not trying to hear it. But yeah. All right. Anyway, guys, y'all have a good night.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I appreciate y'all.
We'll see you guys next week, right before draft. It's gonna be a lot of crazy stuff going on, but we'll be excited for draft night, because we can talk about football, baby. And after the draft, then, you know, that's when, you know,
Yeah, it starts picking up. Hopefully,
rookie mini camp, and we're gonna
have philosophy coming out. Mike Zimmer meeting the players.
We're gonna have
Star. We almost there. Star. We almost there.
It is close. Like actually talking football. So
yes,
it's been a long off season.
Yeah,
it's been a long off season, but joy comes in the morning. Joy comes in the morning for us. Y'all have a good night. We'll see y'all later.
Yeah, thank you everybody for your time. We'll see you guys next week. Thank y'all.